Well, good day everyone. Looks like the overlay has just crashed, so let me get that back up and going. Hey Scott. I agree with you, Talia. Each has their faults, and sometimes it's hard to figure out what's going on with them. Let me find the overlay and reload. There she is. And we're up. Welcome to Iceland. We're here at Keflavik. And today we're doing our last of our delivery flights, bringing the 737-800 from Keflavik down to Belfast, where she will be handed over and prepped to go on the line for FlyUK, the leisure airline for FlyUK. So we'll be seeing in the fall, winter, and spring a bunch of flights to the heavy tourist destinations in, I guess, Central and Western Europe. But we're ready to go. Hey to everybody over in chat, and it looks like Nick and Kevin are going to be flying this leg as well with us. So let's hop on board. We can start getting set up. We do have ATC on the line. Approach and departure is up, so we'll be dealing with them shortly. Let's hop on board. Alright, the aircraft is nice and dark. I'll get the flashlight on here. Alright, so let's get the parking brakes are set. Come up to the battery. Alright, so battery is on and guard is down. Emergency lights are armed. Guard is down. We'll go up to the overhead and the dome light is on. We can switch the flashlight off now. We'll come down here, get the ground power hooked up. So I hope you're all doing well. So just so everyone knows, Nick did 3 legs today, or he's done 2. He's going to be doing this 3rd one, so he can meet up with us here in Iceland. So he's got a lot of flying under his belt today. Ground power is now connected, and ground power is available. So let's start by getting our panel lights up. Roger's for him. He's out doing the walk around. We'll get that one done. We'll get the one click on the adheres to give us a little bit of light there. And we'll get the bottom panel up. There we go. And also come over here, we're going to turn on the aircraft lights to steady. Up to the IRS's. Nav on both. Passenger signs. We'll go to auto, although we have no passengers today and no cargo. Electric hydraulic pumps will both come on. Yaw damper on. Window heat left and right is on. Left aft fuel pump can come on. The APU can now start. Let's get, come on. You know you want to start. Give me the arrow. There we go. The APU is now starting. So we'll come down here. We'll get Rogers over onto that side of things as well. Actually, what we're going to do, since I still haven't been playing with the fuel truck, is we'll get the fuel on board while we're waiting for the APU. Fuel today is, where's my fuel load? Block fuel 6909. 6909. Fuel is in. back over to ground services. There we go. APU is up. So we're now on the APU. Generators are on, bleeds are on. Packs are both set to auto, and the isolation valve is open. Down to the FMC we go. So we're going to go set our position up. Have to do my Navigraph update tomorrow. Get our GPS position, we'll enter that in. Aircraft now knows where it is. We'll come over to our route. And we are at BIKF. And we are flying to EGAA, Belfast. Flight number, as always on VATSim, is UKV 5556. Get that entered in. Our departure, we are going off runway 19er. And we are expecting to get the Pixum 2 Charlie departure. Pixu 2 Charlie. And we can enter our route. So from Pixum, we are going direct to PTUX, PETUX, direct PODAR, PODAR, direct OPDEX, OD, or ODPEX, PEX, direct to KUVOX, KUVOX, direct PUM04, PUM04, direct ECM04, ECM04, and then direct BLACA, BLACA. Alright, and then our arrival, we are currently looking at the VOR DME for runway 35. His winds at Belfast are currently 334 at 7 with hampered visibility and rain and clouds down to 400 feet. It's going to be interesting. Transition. I'm not showing transitions on my chart. This is 13.4. Let's see if there's anything in the charts that would show what's in this one. That is let's leave no transition. We'll see what happens there. I think according to the thing we should just go to Bell. If I go route, missed approach Bell, VDM 35 to runway 35. Let's try the Bell 1. See if that does anything. If I go to legs now. See, Bell FD 50 VOR runway 5. Okay, so it's taking us around. Bell track out 10 miles. Yeah, that seems to be what we want. So will it let me put that there? It will. Yeah, we'll have to see when we get there. Our alternate for today is... Where's my alternate? Is Dublin. So we'll see what happens when we get closer. The if I look at the trends, it's getting worse. But we'll see. Yeah, so let's come up. We'll go over our plan. So if we go to our legs, we're going to leave here out of Belfast. We're heading southwest. Ooh, I kind of jumped because we were doing the wrong button there. We're going to head that way. FlyUK, Padu, Polar, Voltex, OX, 4. We hit Blacka, then we turn, yeah, we come down and we loop out and around, and that brings us in. There's the hold, or the missed approach if we need it. So that all looks good. Yeah. Although, Kevin, you probably want to go to Cork as your missed approach. Clear that. Alright, so that is all done. So let's check the ATIS. 128.3. At least this way I can hold the mouse button down and it'll just scroll.
E0, UTC, runway 19er in use. Expect ILS or RNP approach, runway 19er, transition level 70, weather at 2230, UTC, wind 136 degrees, 17 knots, visibility 0 kilometers or more, clouds broken 1,800 feet, temperature +11, dew point +7, QNH 1014. hectopascals. Bird activity is low. Taxiway Echo 2 is closed until further notice. Report Mach number on first contact for oceanic clearance. Advise on initial contact you have information Sierra. Keflavik Airport 8 is information Sierra. Issued at 2230 UTC.
Okay, so we're not going to be worried about that taxiway. That is not where we're going. We're not worried about the birds. We're not worried about oceanic clearance, I don't think. It's like a bunch of people are logging in. Or flying this way anyway. There's Unicom, and approach frequency is 1193. There we go. And he likes to go by the term Keflavik departure. Keflavik departure, good evening. Skyways 5556, looking for our clearance to Belfast, and we have information Sierra.
Skyways 5556, Keflavik approach, hello. Information Tango just became current, so check that when you're able. And could I have your requested Mach number for the oceanic crossing?
That'll be Mach 78.
Skyways 5556, thanks very much. You're cleared oceanic clearance to Belfast via the FlyUK 2 Charlie departure. Petux Podar Oddpex. Climb via SID flight level 290, Mach 0.78, squawk tree 443.
Roger, cleared off runway 19 on the Pixum 2 Charlie. Cleared via the Pixum, P-Tux, Podar, and Optex, climbing to flight level 290, squawking 3443 and speed of Mach 0.78.
Skyways 5556, read back correct. Check ATIS Tango, QNH 1014, call me for push and start.
Roger, we'll check Tango and call for push and start. Skyways 5556. Alright, let's get the transponder
PS
code in.
17, descent 3,000 feet to be leveled by Elva.
3. Hopefully Oceanic doesn't come up. That would be a pain. I try to avoid them. I just don't know that process. Alright, 3443 is now in. So we have no passengers. Fuel is done. We have no ground cart we have to worry about our baggage or anything. So altimeters are set 1014. Transponder is set. Fuel loading and boarding is done. We come down now and do our takeoff data. So we are at BIKF, runway 19er. We're going to be at the top of 19er, so that's going to have all the runway. METAR is in, and our takeoff weight today, according to the flight plan, 48364. 48364. Do our calculation. And
UPS 17 via Elva, cleared ILS Zulu approach, runway 19er.
Cleared ILS Zulu approach, ILS 19er. Express 19er approach.
Alright, so our gross weight for today's flight is 48364, 48.3. Our planned fuel for today's flight is 6.6. Zero fuel weight to set. Reserves are 0.8. Cost index of 25. Cruise winds 019 at 2. 2. Very light winds today. Oh, I want the altitude first. I keep forgetting that. Flight level 390. And 019 at 2. And transition altitude, he said, was 7,000. Alright, we will execute that and over to our N1 limits. So cell temp is 42 degrees. It will be a 24K D rate and a climb 1. And for takeoff, flaps 1. Our CG is 24.2. Runway remaining 1,200 feet. Come over here. Runway winds are 160 at 16. Oh, a little breezy out today. That is all good. We'll come back and we'll get our V speeds in. Again, the numbers are pretty low because we are very light. Alright, so takeoff data is set. Cruise altitude and pressurization is 39. And our destination has a elevation of 268. So I think you round up. So there's 300. All right. MCP. So 132 plus 20 is 152. Runway heading of 194. And our initial climb altitude is flight level 290. That is set. Departure has been briefed. We're off on the Pixu 2. So as you can see, we're going to be taking off here to the south, making a slight left turn. Yeah, Tron 2 was pretty good. A lot of people didn't like it, but I felt it was alright. And we're going to fly down here towards Pixum. After that, we're going to be heading out over the waters between Iceland and northern Scotland. Down the west side, the Hebrides here. I'll pick up the edge here, cut across, and then into Belfast. And of course, without the there's no star as we arrive. We're going to be flying direct into Belfast, crossing over the airport at 4,000 feet, and then we'll drop down to 2,500 to do the loop, and then in. That's the plan anyway. Yeah, it's not bad. It's better than I thought. They were kind of panning it, but you know, I thought it was pretty good. Anyway, flight director's coming on. Radios are set. Alright. Come over here to here. We got our final sheets, our thermoses and sandwiches from the ground crew here at the station. Closing the door. We're on the APU. Pull the ground cart. And the wheel chocks are removed. Anti-collision light coming on. Now, I'm going to push back. Not sure which way he's going to have us face, but the end of the runway is right here, so it's not a long taxi. There goes the
ILS for manual established.
2 at once. UPS 17, winds 160 degrees, 16 knots, runway 19 clear to land.
Runway 19 clear to land, UPS 17.
And who was the second station calling?
Bluebird 19 Tango, ready for push and start with Tango.
Bluebird 19 Tango, push and start approved. And Bluebird 19 Tango, before you push actually, just verify you're squawking 3473 and Mo Charlie.
There you go, squawking 3473, Mo Charlie, and push and start approved. Which direction? Bluebird 19 Tango?
Bluebird 19 Tango, you can push facing south to release point 5 if able.
Push south to release point 5 if able, Bluebird 19 Tango. I'll check for the release point there.
And Keflavik, departure Skyways 5556, ready for push and start.
Skyways 5556, push and start approved, facing east.
Roger, push and start approved, facing east, Skyways 5556. Alright, let's get the marker out.
And departure very good. This evening, Walker 940 heavy, we're Boeing
Get the chart out of the way.
Requesting IFR clearance to Boston. As file, please. Information Tango.
Walker 9040, Keflavik approach, hello. Information Tango is correct. Could I have your requested Mach number for oceanic clearance?
And I think 88.
Mach decimal 82.
There we go.
Walker 940.
So we got
Walker
our,
9040, thanks.
mark is
That's
set.
copied. Also, just be advised, according to my ground radar, looks like you are on top of another aircraft there, but I have your clearance advised ready to copy.
There's Kevin over there. We had a little bit of model matching issues,
Walker
so he's not showing up the way it should be.
We are using default P3D5 scenery, and the gates are a little off.
So,
if you need us to, we can try
train
and
is on, data is
move to
on,
another gate.
traffic is on.
Walker 9040, it's not so much which gate you're at, it's just that you're currently
centered.
at the same gate as someone else. You're on top of them, but
Traffic there.
if it's not an issue for you, then I can give you your clearance.
So we are all good on that.
As long as it's not an issue for the other aircraft,
Anti-cruise light is on.
we
So,
should be
fuel
okay, Walker
pumps.
940.
Do I got
Walker
fuel in the center?
9040,
No,
in that
fuel
case,
the center.
oceanic clearance to Boston
Fuel
Airport,
pumps are
Dallas
on.
2 Charlie departure, Dopod, 62 North 030 West,
Packs
60
are off.
North 040
Mission mode
West,
selector is set to
57
both.
North 050 West,
And we are ready to go.
hoist. Climb via SID, flight level 290, Mach 0.82,
Go ahead,
squawk
flight.
3143.
Ready for pushback and engine start. Understood. Release the parking brakes, please.
Parking brakes released.
Pushing back.
Oceanic clearance to Boston, Dallas 2 Charlie,
All
Delta
equipment is clear. You can start the engines at your discretion.
62
Starting engine number 2.
North 30 West,
Oops, that's a little early.
60 North 40 West. Sorry if I'm getting these directions.
Had an Airbus.
I'm going from what it's
brain
telling
fart
in the
there.
FMC.
Engine
57
2 starting.
North 50 West, and hoist, and Mach 0.82 Walker 940. And can you repeat the squawk, please?
Walker 9040, squawk 3143, and also just confirm climb via SID flight level 290.
Nice moon coming up. I see the moon today, Kevin.
290,
Not sure what happened the
and
other
we will
day.
squawk 3143 Walker 940.
I've tried the one that
Sorry for
comes with the airplane,
awkward
and
readback.
it's
No worries,
overshot a couple
Walker
times.
9040, the readback is correct.
So
Keflavik
for this
information
one,
Tango
I am
is current,
using
although you already have
Pushback
that.
Express.
And call me for your push and start. Be advised I have copied your flight plan remarks.
And
Thank you for
starting
looking at the
engine number
remarks,
1.
and we'll advise when ready. Push and start Walker 940.
UPS 17, welcome
The
to
push is
Keflavik.
complete. Please
Confirm
set the
you'd like
brakes.
to taxi to cargo parking.
Brakes are
Parking
set.
brakes
Yes, we
set.
on Sierra landed and
Okay,
taxi to
to is clear
Keflavik.
and pin is out and equipment is clear.
Thanks, and you can disconnect
UPS
and go to hand
17,
signals.
taxi
Thanks,
via
good flight,
Sierra,
and,
hold
we'll see you
short, taxi via Sierra, Kilo, Charlie, November 12 to stand 40. You're cleared to cross runway 28.
I think that's Nick over there.
Taxi to Sierra, Kilo, Charlie, November 1, 2. And can you repeat the next round?
UPS 17, the stand is 40, and you're cleared to cross runway 28.
Clear to cross runway
And we should get
28
starter cutout.
and stand 40 for UPS.
Starter
17.
cutout
Thank you,
has
sir.
happened. Generators 1 and 2 are now online. Engine start switches will go to continuous. Not flight, continuous.
Okay, Keflavik approach, Bluebird 19 Tango, push ready for taxi.
12 heats are on.
Bluebird 19 Tango,
Engine ice
taxi
not
holding point
required.
runway 19 via November 13
Engine
and
bleeds
November.
are on.
Taxi holding point 19 via November
Packs
3
are
and November
on.
Bluebird 19 Tango.
Bluebird
Recirculation
19
fans
Tango,
are on.
confirm it's November 13 and then November. So apron entry point November 13
Isolation valve
and then
to auto.
taxiway November.
Confirm, and that's on board, and November 13 and November, Bluebird 19 Tango.
Bluebird 19 Tango, correct.
Autopilot or autopilot.
UPS 17 looks like you're
APU.
stopped there. Do you need any assistance with the taxi?
Is off. APU bleeds are
No,
off.
give me just a second, please.
Again, it is going to be flaps
No worries. And
1.
if it helps, just for the time being, Sierra is just the taxiway that's ahead of you. So basically just taxi in a straight line, and I can give you further help if necessary.
Flaps 1 selected,
Okay, thank you,
and
sir. You can confirm.
flaps are in motion.
Out approach Ryanair 464, ready for pushback and start.
Elevator trim.
Ryanair 464, confirmed
4.18.
walking mode Charlie and
So we're
code
going to go
3230.
to just above 4.
Crossing 3230, Ryanair 464.
There we go.
Ryanair 464, push and start approved.
And flight controls. Over to systems.
Start
Full
approved,
left,
Ryanair
full
464.
right, neutral, full forward, full back, neutral, left rudder, right rudder, neutral. Engine instruments are good. We'll put them up here on the primary. We're going to be going LNAV, VNAV, heading select, and level change are all armed. Auto throttle armed. Recall is fine. Taxi light coming on. Auto brakes to RTO, and up to the overhead. We'll kill the overhead light so we can get our night vision going. Turn off my office light so I can see where we're going. Keflavik departure. Skyways 5556. Ready for taxi.
Skyways 5556, taxi holding point to runway 19er via November 14, and to November you'll be following Bluebird 737-800 on November.
Roger, November 14, then November 4 following the other aircraft to holding point 19er for Skyways 5556. Alright, so we're basically going to follow the line around. Brakes are off. Taxi forward. I'm going to go into dark mode for a lot of the stuff here. See if I can remember how to do this, Kevin. There we go.
Bluebird 19 Tango, report ready for departure.
Welcome, Bluebird 19 Tango. Okay, ready for departure, Bluebird 19 Tango.
Bluebird 19 Tango, winds 160 degrees 16 knots, runway 19er, clear for takeoff.
Clear takeoff, 19, Bluebird 19 Tango.
Trying to see the markings here. Oh, there's the line. Looks like I pushed a little too far out. That was the edge of the area. A little hard to see in the dark. It's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it. That's the UPS taxiing in. Fortunately, Echo 2 is closed. It's parallel. That runs south of the intersecting runway. First set of parking spots. This is November 4, and we're basically going to taxi straight around to the End of the runway. Should see Kevin sitting there. Oh, Kevin's gone.
Bluebird 19 Tango, identified route direct to Pixum, say altitude passing.
Route direct Pixum and passing to 2000 foot, Bluebird 19 Tango.
Bluebird 19 Tango, route now, correction. You already got the direct, so climb flight level 290.
Climb flight level 290, Bluebird 19 Tango.
Skyways 5556, report ready for departure.
Roger, we'll report ready, Skyways 5556.
And Ryanair 464, ready for taxi.
Ryanair 464, taxi via November, taxi holding point runway 19er via November 12 and November.
Taxi via November 12 and November to holding point runway 19, Ryanair 464.
Alright, so here's the line. Alright, so brakes on. So fuel flow is checked. V speeds are checked. MCP is checked. Position lights to strobe and steady. Landing lights are on. Runway turnoff lights are on. Taxi light is off. Transponder is set TARA. Traffic is on. And clock is running. Keflavik departure, Skyways 5556, ready to go.
Skyways 5556, winds 160 degrees 16 knots, runway 19er, cleared for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff 19er, Skyways 5556. We're on a bit of a hill here. Beautiful view there. Let's come to a quick halt. All right, engines to 40%. Engine stable. Brakes released. Toga.
Airspeed alive.
Check.
80 knots.
Check.
V1. Rotate. Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. Command A. Keflavik departure, Skyways 5556, airborne, passing 1000.
Skyways 5556, identified route direct, Pixum, climb flight level 290.
Direct Pixum and flight level 290, Skyways 5556.
Ryanair 464, report ready for departure.
And Ryanair 464, we're ready for departure.
Ryanair 464, line up and wait to runway 19er. It'll be about a 1 to 2 minute delay for separation with the other traffic.
Line up and wait runway 19 and copy the delay, Ryanair 464.
Direct Pixum. flaps up.
Bluebird 19 Tango, shortly leaving my airspace, no further ATC, monitor Unicom 122.8, bye-bye.
Alright,
Unicom
so
122.8, chase VHC, and it's Bluebird 19 Tango.
gears up, autopilot's on, auto brake is off, gear lever is off, engine start switches are both off, runway turnoff lights are off, flaps are retracted, cabin is pressurizing.
Ryanair 464, winds 150 degrees, 14 knots, runway 19, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 19.
7,000
Ryanair
feet
464.
over to standard pressure. Oh, they've got it in flare? Oh, there's the Canadian airline you can fly. Oh, I take it you made it the download. Excellent. There's 10,000 feet. Landing lights are
Ryanair
off.
464, airborne,
Confirm
passing
cabin
1,300.
pressurizing.
Ryanair 464, identified, route to direct Pixum, climb flight level 290.
And we will turn on
Direct
the
Pixum, climb to flight level 290, Ryanair
overhead.
464.
There we go. Yeah, they have WestJet. Although I didn't know WestJet flew the 800s. I know they flew the 700s. I've been on those. Everything is looking good. That airport, by the way, was third-party scenery, not default. And Belfast is FlightSim.to, I believe. Good 4,000 foot per minute climb going here. We are incredibly light, as mentioned. Once he kicks us out of his airspace back over to Unicom, we'll set 390 and climb to cruise. I went on to I went on to FlightSim.to and downloaded Luke's checklist, British Avkey.
Skyways 5556, you're shortly leaving my airspace, no further ATC, monitor Unicom 122.8, bye-bye.
22.8 for Skyways 5556. Have a good night. Thanks. Danny, yes. I fly the Phoenix A320 regularly. We're doing a series right now where we're hopping around Europe in it. All the European capitals. We're almost finished that series. It is a different aircraft from the Boeing, obviously, but it is a complete airplane as well. So just like the 737 here, the Phoenix is a fully fleshed out A320. It operates fantastically. Everything is done in it, so I've used it in heavy VATSim events where we've gone into multiple holds on approaches and everything, and it works great. I really do like it. So my two main airliners are going to be this aircraft, the 737-800, and the Phoenix A320. You'll see plenty of streams that I got on my channel with it. It is a really fantastic aircraft, and it's the Airbus philosophy, which is fine, but it's good, and I enjoy flying it as well. Yeah, tell you what I was saying is I downloaded it and I made a few little handwritten notes here and there, just to remind myself of certain things. But it seems to be a pretty complete checklist, so you should do well with it. In terms of frames of PC performance, I am running a fairly high-end dedicated gaming PC. I run my video card is a 2080 Super. I'm on a 10900K Intel processor, 64 gigs of RAM. My main screen that I watch the sim on is a 37-inch 4K monitor, so I'm watching it in 4K. And I've got a second screen going with the streaming software, and I'm streaming at the same time. Except for some issues with scenery at custom airports and stuff that are very FPS intensive, I have absolutely no problems flying any of these airliners. If you don't have as robust a system, I don't know, but I've never really heard anybody talk bad about either the PMPG or the Phoenix ones in terms of frame rates and stuff. You just have to bear in mind that they are a little bit more intensive because they are operating stuff outside of the sim. But I've not had a problem. So I enjoy both aircraft, and they work fine for me. The only lag issue I've had recently was scenery based for some airports, like I said, so works pretty good. Scott, I'm surprised you're not joining us on this flight. I kind of planned these hoping you'd be available since they're kind of evening flights for us. I know you're in the same time zone I'm in. Oh, and there's Kevin on the TCAS. Well, he was. I think he said he's climbing up higher. Anyway, we're gonna go. Let's go up to 39. See if I manage to avoid the altitude capture. Yeah, we're still climbing up through it, so we're good.
With 19 Tango, 2200, layer 220 for 10,200.
Yeah, Danny, no problem. This aircraft, the DC-6 from PMPG, and the Phoenix A320, those are the airplanes I wish we had at the start of the sim. The broken ones, the default aircraft. I mean, the sim looked really, really nice. The aircraft left a lot to be desired in systems and stuff. These make it. I mean, I'm having a blast with these airplanes. Their work, you got to know them, especially when you fly into busy areas. But other than that, they're fantastic, and they're really, really cool. Oh, busy day? Sorry, Scott. Tried to get some of these flights in for you. I know you're working during the day when I'm usually doing the other streams. All right, let me switch over to map mode here. Just gonna move the chat up so I can sneak in the charts. Yeah, I'm really thinking of doing a fall upgrade on mine. Probably going up to a 3080 Ti and a new boot drive, which is where the sim is, to give myself some more room. Maybe a 4 terabit. I saw a nice 4 terabit Western Digital, which looked pretty good. So I may go up to that, and then I might have to pump the power supply as well. Have you seen the reviews for X-Plane 12, Scott? What do you think? Yeah, I've been simming since flight sims came out for the home, like in the 80s. Where it is now is just phenomenal in terms of what you can see, the graphics. I mean, I've been flying it since day one, and I think with the crew here and some of the other guys that kick around that we fly with, I mean, we've been around the world a couple times, flown into some pretty amazing things, some airspaces, and it just keeps getting better and better. I mean, look at the view out there, the moon on the clouds. It's phenomenal, and it really is looking great. And I love the fact that the airliners, now match. I mean, look at that! This looks fantastic. So. It's great, and in 4K. I mean, when they did that big update, I think it was around Sim Update 5, and I could go into 4K mode without my PC blowing up. It was just fantastic, and it is a great community. You're right. All the other simmers, EasyJet, British Avgeek, Into the Blue, Aussie, just some Aussie simmer. All these guys. I mean, they're great. So it is a fantastic and helpful community, and that's why my streams, I do the community streams. All the live streams I do are open for people who want to fly. So we have, like tonight, we're flying the 737 on this delivery flight because I just got the airplane, so I figured it'd be appropriate to do a delivery flight with it. Tomorrow night we're continuing our European capitals. We'll be in the Phoenix A320. Wednesday nights I'm flying a Cessna 172 doing Route 66 in the US as we follow that along and see what the landscape looks like for that. I've got other stuff coming up that I plan out, so, and everyone's welcome to fly along. It's really pretty cool. Not sure if you're there, but we have a Discord, and I'll pump it out into the chat. All the information for all these flights is posted in the Discord, so you're able to join in. Always willing to have more people fly along with us. And we're almost finished Route 66. We'll be doing a tour of Scotland after that. And when the European Capitals tour, 1,000 to go, European Capital tour ends up, in a few sessions, we'll be starting a world tour. We're going to fly people can fly what they want. I'm going to be flying the A320, and we're going to fly around the world. So that's going to be a good one. And I think the world tour is going to be on Mondays. And over the winter, as my time opens up and I can make the odd Saturday and Sunday available, we may pull out the cargo planes, do some 747 flying. So we are leveling off in cruise. Kevin's out there ahead of us, leading the way. Nick's behind. Good spacing. And we're on our way to... really, next land we see will be Scotland. So it's all looking very good. They have a base A330. Yeah, Just Flight will be coming out with their A330. I'm really looking forward to the Inabuild's A310, which will be in November, along with Airplane Heaven's DC-3, which will be in November as well. Pressurization issues. You had to you got failures on. Well, there you go. You pay the price for flicking that switch on. Anyway, I'm gonna go throw on some entertainment, and then I'm gonna go make a cup of tea while we cruise over the icy waters here, and we head down towards the western edge of Scotland. How far did you have to descend? 10,000 feet? So I think we'll go with the right side view because we got the moon out there. See the clouds a little bit. Alright, so I'm going to come off the chat, or the voice, but I'll be in the chat. And we will see you all for the briefing for our descent shortly.
Everett 19 Tango, taking flight level 10.
I thought we'd lost you. You're not on that side.
Oh Christ, it's only too low.
This is a great place for necking.
Oh, why don't you come up and see me sometime?
Swaying to the rhythm of my heartbeat.
There is nothing quite so heavenly as the stars above to a pair that's so in love. Honey, I just seem to be dancing on the moon. With you in my arms, far away from all the town, up above the silvery clouds, dancing on the moon. With you in my arms, flying through a little star, Venus, Jupiter, and Mars.
Nick, just keep an eye out for the TCAS there, because I think I'm clear between the two of you. Let me know if I get a bit close, so I can kind of level out.
was the year 1959, Anno Domini. In China, it was the year of the dog, the year 5720. It was the year a rocket hit the moon. Even as man probed more deeply into space, this world was shrinking beneath his feet. 1959 was the year 2 million travelers took their first giant steps across the skies of Earth by jet airliner, the shining silver conveyance which has been called the greatest revolution in transportation in all time. In the years since, the jetliner has come to connect every continent, every major city, and is now a part of the daily lives of millions of the people of the Earth. This is how it began, the first year of the jet age. The 707, year one.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. This is your captain. Welcome to the jet age. We're cruising now at 35,000 feet. Our speed is Mach number 0.83, or about 605 miles per hour. On our flight plan today, we'll be covering 4,800 miles in 8 hours, and we'll be in smooth air above the weather, cruising in sunshine all the way.
This aircraft is the 707 Intercontinental. It's the largest jet airliner in the world. Incidentally, the first one of these big jets made its initial flight as the year 1959 began. It was January 11th, and Seattle weather was not ideal for a first flight.
Here she comes.
At the conclusion of the Intercontinental's first flight, reporter asked pilot,
"How was it?" "Fine. Everything went real well."
Nice ride?
Yeah, it's real good. The weather didn't cooperate too well, though.
No, you always wait for rain.
Seems like around here.
Right.
We'll see you tomorrow. Okay, fine. Thank you.
When tomorrow came, the weather was more cooperative.
Flight test, you're in. Settle on 4.
At 20,000 feet over Puget Sound, rendezvous, and the test program begins.
Flight test, you read 0260.
The chase plane pilot observes and records through a camera on his helmet. And he also transmits a non-technical observation.
It's real pretty in your new airplane. Just clean as a wet sail. We'll take it on up to our placard of 300 knots.
And so the test program would go through 27 weeks of higher speeds, heavier loadings, increasing demands on performance to verify the engineer's design objectives. For this, the Intercontinental series of 707 jetliner. As the new model began its flying life, another member of the 707 family was ready to enter airline service. Los Angeles International Airport, January 23rd. Another jetliner, the first model of the 707 series, waits to be christened. Ready to start the engines and a new era in American transportation, the governor and his lady.
I christened this airplane the 707 Jet Flagship California. When I pressed this button, the engine of the first scheduled passenger plane ever to fly across the United States was started. Good luck and Godspeed, Jet Flagship California.
Four passengers, 8 crew members, are bound for New York and a place in history.
Bluebird 19, take reaching flight level 690.
22 minutes after takeoff, they were cruising 6 miles above the ancient canyons of the Old West. On this day, the river of Huckleberry Finn was only 2 hours from New York City. Out of Los Angeles, they began their descent, and 112 charter members of the jet age shared in the new record. In 4 hours, 3 minutes, they had crossed America and seen this country shrink in half. As American Airlines began 707 service, Pan American was completing its 3rd month of jet operations from New York. Flying the North Atlantic run to London in 6.5 hours. To Paris in 7 hours. In these first 3 months, more travelers had come to Europe in a single jetliner than by the Queen Mary. With delivery of more 707s, Pan Am began service to Rome. On March 20th, the jet age came to San Francisco.
Historic transportation event. First, of course, the real star of our show is our Boeing 707 jetliner.
Next on the stand, the president of TWA.
Thank you very much. This will be the first commercial jet flight to leave from San Francisco, and this is going to make your city one of the first and one of the greatest jet air transport centers in the world. You can be very proud of that. In 4.5 hours from the time that we take off, we'll be in New York.
And TWA could be proud of its new jet operation. In the first 2 weeks of service to New York, it completed 28 consecutive departures on schedule, all with a single 707. Businessman could be a coast-to-coast commuter, have breakfast in San Francisco, business luncheon in Manhattan, and home again, all in the same day. In the spring of the year, flight testing took the Intercontinental to an altitude of 42,000 feet, a speed of 665 miles per hour. The airplane took its punishment gracefully and proved again the integrity of its structure. At the same time, another test was concluding. Underwater in the hydrostatic test tank. In a year of hydro-fatigue testing, the pressurized cabin of the jet transport had undergone 50,000 flight cycles, equivalent to more than 40 years of airline operation. The structure had shown no signs of weakening. In the month of April, the body was purposely sliced open in several places to see if the skin would rip. Under repeated cycles of heavy loads and abnormally high pressures, the torn body held together. Structural engineers call this verifying the fail-safe principle of 707 design. In the heat of the California desert, April was the cruelest month. Here, at Edwards Air Force Base, the Federal Aviation Agency of the United States government was beginning its examination of the new Intercontinental 707. This airplane would not be permitted to carry a passenger until the FAA had given its certificate of airworthiness. It was not the first desert trial for these flight test men from Seattle and Washington, D.C. A year before, they had written the rules for jets in the test program for the first 707s. Now they were putting it on the line with the biggest one, the 707 Intercontinental. This airplane must prove its designer's claims for all the Intercontinental 707s yet to come. April 15th, the FAA's check pilots began examination of the airplane's flying personality. What these men cannot see, other eyes will detect as the airplane's every nerve and muscle are measured in numbers. Day after day, they took the pulse of the jet, flying from stratosphere to sagebrush level, maneuvering 150 tons of aircraft from stalling speed to nearly 700 miles per hour. On the ground, the second Intercontinental was taking the test for rejected takeoff. At full takeoff speed, they hit the brakes. How much runway to stop 150 tons, traveling at 150 miles per hour? In 3 weeks testing, they got their answers. This airplane could make a safe stop, weighing 9 tons, more than takeoff maximum. Next problem, cut one engine on takeoff. How fast can you climb on 3 engines? Next morning, you will deliberately set the flaps wrong, pull the nose up too soon. What's the recovery time? In the last week of May, summer came full on the desert, and the men took a break before final examination. At the field, they're calibrating engine thrust. 4 of these Pratt & Whitney turbojets can put out more than 63,000 pounds of thrust. That's the takeoff power they want for tomorrow's test. The airplane stands for the weighing in ceremony, while ballast tanks are installed in place of 180 passengers. Filled with water, the tanks equal 45,000 pounds of payload, plus an overload of 9 more tons. The airplane now weighs 316,000 pounds. Late in the day, the last pre-flight conference. Tomorrow's test would not count if conditions were not executed to plan. The men were ready. The airplane was ready for maximum weight takeoff. The morning air was cool and calm. Conditions were ideal. The final test could be made at 316,000 pounds. The desert trials were over, and the big 707 had a fresh paint job for the last act in the federal test program, long-range flights under airline operating conditions. On the morning of May 28th, flight test was ready for the first truly intercontinental flight of the jet age. The flight plan reads, Seattle to Rome, Italy, direct, 5,800 miles non-stop. Among the passengers, William M. Allen, president of Boeing. "39,000 feet over Canada, power was reduced to long-range cruise. Airspeed, 550 miles per hour. Just over 9 hours out from Seattle, they crossed the English Channel. The Swiss Alps behind them. It was downhill over the Mediterranean and the letdown for Rome. .800 miles in 11 hours, 6 minutes. Here was a record for president and pilot to enjoy with a new airplane, and a record to share with an old jet back home. On July 15th, the prototype 707 was 5 years old, but the party was in another room as the FAA announced certification of the Intercontinental. Months of testing have paid off. After 379 hours of flight, the Federal Aviation Agency had approved the big one for airline service. Pan American named its first Intercontinental Jet Clipper Liberty Bell. And while Liberty Bell made headlines in her diplomatic mission to Moscow, the prototype began its 6th year of flight, still testing design innovations for the 707s yet to come. July 29th, Australia's overseas airline prepares to launch jet service across the Pacific Ocean.
Our main aircraft sitting in Canberra, and the public all who flying there.
First to cross the Pacific by jet, Qantas passengers today can see the world's mightiest ocean shrink to a mere 15 hours in width. In the summer months, Continental Airlines brought jet service to more of America and set new standards for efficient operations. These golden jets didn't linger long on the ground. In the time required to refuel, they would deplane 100 passengers or more, tidy up in the cabin, and soon have new supplies going aboard for 100 departing travelers. By late summer, each one of these golden jets was averaging 10 hours of flight every day. Skipping through daylight saving zones, passengers were arriving in Denver 10 minutes later than their Chicago departure time. and Continental held the record for the Los Angeles-Chicago run, 3 hours. On August 26th, intercontinental jet service began. There were curious new problems created that day in San Francisco. As the miles were shortened between cultures, it would seem that a man must learn a new manner of dress. And those flowers would be embarrassingly fresh when he reached London in 11 hours. On September 5th, Liberty Bell enjoyed the combined blessings of East and West as San Francisco's mayor joined with a Japanese priest to celebrate inauguration of intercontinental schedules between America and the Orient. 119 passengers will be in Honolulu in 5 hours. Departure time, 10:47 a.m. This evening at 8 o'clock Tokyo time, they'll see the lights of the Ginza, only 13 flying hours from the Golden Gate. In October, the 707-220 completed the federal test program, and on November 5th, the FAA announced certification for this, the third model of the 707 family of jet airliners. December 3rd, Braniff International Airways flies home to Texas with its El Dorado Superjet. Now, a Midwesterner could waken up a cold winter's morn, decide to jet to Florida, and be there by noon. Or south of the border for a summer fiesta, only a few hours from that cold winter's morning. December 6th, another world traveler was en route from North America in a specially equipped 707 operated by the Military Air Transport Service of the United States Air Force. Air Force designation for its version of the 707 is VC-137A. Title of this mission, Operation Monsoon. First port of call, Rome, Italy, where Mr. Eisenhower was met by President Gronchi. And so the journey began, from Rome to Ankara. 400,000 Turks were there to greet an American who would meet the people of 11 nations in 19 days, coming to countries American presidents had never seen before. Karachi, Pakistan. And gifts from President Ayub. Then to India. Here, the dream of a Kansas farm boy was fulfilled as he stood before the Taj Mahal. Thence to Tehran and to talk with the Shah of Iran. 4 hours later, Athens, Greece. And when he bade King Paul good night, Mr. Eisenhower had covered the entire empire of Alexander the Great in one jet day. In the Paris station called Gare du Nord, a walk and talk with President de Gaulle. On departure from Paris, the VC-137's captain said, The 19-day mission could never have been without the jet. It would have taken more than a month. Then, North Africa. At Casablanca, King Mohammed V and 500,000 Moroccans, and mutual memories of an old war in their desert. As the tour ended, the travelers said, "We have much to learn and to give in our journeys to lands of other faiths."
Thank you very much indeed for coming out on this cold night to welcome my party and me back home. It's certainly good to be here. Now, I must remind you that this morning we had breakfast in Madrid, lunch in Casablanca, and now we are home at an hour which, by our getting up time, was 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. So you can realize that this is not a time for a very erudite and informing speech. But I do want to just say the one thing. Everywhere we came, everywhere we went, people sent this back. A message of Merry Christmas and goodwill to all the people of the United States. And in that message, I join myself this evening. To all of you, everybody, everywhere. Good night.
Christmas Day, the 707 set 3 new world records for speed between Old World and New World. And this Earth grew a bit smaller yet. And these were the makers of the jets. They could look back on 7 years of work leading to this year 1. It was the year 1952 when their company decided to build the first 707, and they saw it fly in '54. Then there were 2 more years of test and proof before they saw the first airline order. Now they were building for the airlines of 11 nations. Work had begun for Irish International Airlines and for Western Airlines on the speedy new model called 720. They were shaping intercontinental 707s for South African aids and for Varig of Brazil. They were moving up number 102 for Deutsche Lufthansa. 101 rolled out the door as the year ended. And jetliner number 100 emerged from paint shop in the colors of Air India International. At year's end, the medium-range 720s were rolling for United Airlines. Air India's Rolls-Royce powered intercontinentals were ready to go. Lufthansa flew home to Germany in record time. Sabine Lines was scheduled into Africa and into Russia. And the first new Model 720 at a level flight speed of Mach 0.9, as promised. An intercontinental for VOAC made a big test hop and history's first non-stop crossing of the North Pacific from Seattle to Tokyo. Air France was ready for passengers. British Overseas Airways had its U.S. certification. Quadrant had begun service. America's domestic front lines completed a year with 707 cabins 90% full. All the years of airline planning and investment were beginning to pay off as the public welcomed the jet age with 2 million tickets. As the flight crews of Air France prepared for 707 service, a philosophical discussion took place.
Have a date in New York over the weekend and return to Paris for work on Monday.
That's right. And Tuesday morning have breakfast in Tesco. That's
Wonderful. Captain Chass, from an economic standpoint, what do you consider to be the meaning of the jet for the world?
For the world, it will increase the tourists, I think, the tourism, and everybody will be able to go from a country to another. And for Europe, we expect an invasion of American citizens for the coming years.
Wonderful.
Now, that invasion could begin. A traveler can fly around the world in 40 hours. Now, you might take that giant step toward the horizon of your own dream. From anywhere in the USA, Paris for breakfast. Lunch in Rome. From Rome to Istanbul. Then, a flying carpet ride through the Middle East. And down to Bombay. There was a story in the Bombay News which said,
"The jet era is opening the doors for the intermingling of various cultures, a prelude to the demolition of barriers erected by lack of contact and by prejudice. No land is now isolated. No people sheltered from the friendly gaze of others.
As you arrive in Bangkok, Thailand, you're about halfway around this little world. East or west, the United States is less than 1 day away as the jet flies. Northeast lies the great port of the South China Sea. You're on final approach to Hong Kong. 1959. Takeoff beside Hong Kong Harbor. And as evening settled beyond the hills of China, they were ending this year of the dog and making ready for the year of the rat. Coming into Tokyo, you think back to the 16th century and Magellan. 3 years to circle the globe. You think of Jules Verne and his incredible man who made it round in 80 days. And today, 4 generations after Phileas Fogg, you're circling the world in less than 2 days jet time. The world hasn't changed. You have. You think of the old words, the Far East. It doesn't seem so far. Aloha, Hawaii. It's your last stop. You're only 5 hours from home. As you climb up to where the stratosphere begins, you're 7 miles above the Pacific, and it's easy to feel superior to that world shrinking beneath your feet. The flight has provided a new viewpoint, but it's up to you to see these new dimensions. Look at the 4 corners of the earth, moving closer to Main Street. And the people of Tokyo must learn that they're almost as close now to Chicago as Chicago was to Seattle. In California, they're learning to look across a continent and an ocean toward London, 1 giant step from San Francisco. Europe is closer to Los Angeles than it was to New York. And Berlin may come to Bangkok in 8 hours. They've got a new outlook from Australia, too. Since tides first turned in Sydney Harbor, the land has seen the world away from America. Now, it's only half a day. Pacific tides have thundered for ages among the time-worn rocks of Hawaii. And the same tide is coming into Seattle. It was here the 707 began the flights that have changed the shape of this ocean, this world. Before this tide has come to its high water line, a jet will have crossed the Atlantic. When the tide has ebbed and run out again, a jetliner will have spanned the Pacific. In this jet age, our homes are only as far apart as the next turning of the tide. (1959). This was the year the 707 first made its mark in the skies, and some of the miles between men were dissolved in vapor. It was the year to look at records, to think of promises, and a time to speak of beginnings. For this was the 707, year 1.
Bluebird 1 minute Tango flight 2 for separation. Bluebird 1 minute Tango radio stick.
We can buy.
Cheers.
I'll slow to Mach 0.72 as well.
Roger that, yeah, sounds good.
Okay, we're starting to get in range of our top descent, about 120 miles to go. So we're going to start going through some of the stuff, some of the numbers. And if you have any questions, Danny, please feel free to ask as we run through this stuff. Alright, first of all, destination weather. We took a look at it a little while ago. I'm just going to throw it in again and we'll go over what it actually says. So there's weather in the chat. EGAA is Belfast at 090020 hours, so that's the 9th of September at 0020. So 40 minutes ago is when this NOTAM came out. Automated weather, so there's no person doing it. It's being pushed out by instruments that are set up to do this. So the wind speeds are 330 at 8 knots, so the winds are out of slightly west of north. We have a 7,000 meter visibility, so there is a little bit of reduced visibility on the ground, mist, fog, or perhaps due to the light rain, which you can see here, the minus RA means light rain. Now we have a few clouds at 300 feet. Should not be an issue for the minimums and visibility for landing. A few clouds are pretty scattered and spaced out, so it shouldn't really be an issue. It's getting some weird readings off the automated sensors, and then it's saying CB. So there may be some cumulus buildup. That's where the rain's coming from. It's 15 degrees, dew point's 14, so that's why we got the low cloud deck. The temperature and dew point are pretty close together. Dew point is the temperature at which clouds form. So if you look at the average of 2 degrees Celsius per 1,000 feet as you go up, 500 feet up would drop that to 1414, and that's where you would start getting your clouds forming. And you can see we already had that cloud warning at 300 feet, so that makes sense. QNH is 1005. That's our altimeter setting, and I'm not sure what RERA means.
So smart to
Some
turn things you
kind of
need
note,
into things you
but
want. From lipstick and
kind of
mascara
irrelevant.
to piling up the points. That's how we make things better. Open your PC
So we have
Optimum
our
app,
weather. We
load
can
your
get
offers,
our arrival data entered in.
September 9th to 11th, exclusive to Shoppers Drug Mart. Restrictions apply. Details in store
And we're going to be entering in a bunch of this stuff here. So the first thing we're going to be doing is entering our ESA variation. So out of the flight planning tool we're using, our ESA variation or deviation is 1 degree, I believe. Where did I see it? 1 degree. So we'll set 1 degree, and the barrow is 1005. Oops, got another 0 in there. So we'll enter that in there, and that is now entered in. Transition level for the airport here. Oh, recent rain. Okay, recent rain. So we could have a contaminated runway. Thanks, Nick. I was looking to get transition level for here. It is 6,000 feet, so that is correctly entered in. Now we're going to go back to our flight plan, and we are going to pull up the winds. So if we scroll down, I know you can't see this, but we get to the wind section, and we've got our winds. So the lower 3 levels for winds are 200, so 20,000 feet, and the wind direction is 079 at 32. This all helps the airplane calculate its approach path. At 15,000 feet or flight level 150, the winds are going to be 060 at 24, or at least that's the prediction when we left Iceland. And at 1,000 or 100, flight level 100, which is 10,000 feet, we are looking at 058 at 21. So if you look at the winds, they're 79 and 6058. So the lower you get, the more they swing in a counterclockwise direction. It has to do with the fact we're in the northern hemisphere. The Earth is spinning, and cyclonic effect, and Coriolis effect, and all that neat stuff. You also generally see winds decreasing as well. So that's all in. We can hit the execute button, and that is all good. So that is now entered in. So that's our arrival data. Landing altitude, we're going to recheck that. Airport elevation, just to confirm, is 268 feet. And we had set in 300 feet as our landing elevation. We can come down now to the radios. Radios are set on Unicom. There is no ATC up at Belfast, so we don't have to worry about any other channels. Localizer, ILS frequency, and course. Well, there's no localizer since there's no ILS. There's no ILS frequency, as there is no ILS. We can put in the course, just because. It is 345. So what I'm going to do is we're going to put 345 in on both sides. And for VOR2, I am going to set the Belfast VOR at 117.2. So we'll put that into the nav radio. And this will give us the indicator for the Belfast VOR, which is kind of the VOR we are using. It gave me green on AB3. 563 meters remaining. Don't forget I'm lighter than you though, Kevin, so that's going to make a difference. So that is now set in, and we'll have the VOR. We can see we're already picking it up here. Good night, Talia. Thanks for popping by. 142 miles out from the airport. Direct line at this point in time. So wing and engine anti-ice. Not going to be required. Temperatures are above 10 degrees. Warning recall is checked. The MCP intercept altitude is 2,500 feet. So before we set that, well, you're going to be heavier. You're going to have a heavier gross weight, so you're going to take you longer to stop. We can come in here and check this out. So Bell at 210 knots and 400 degrees. And looking at the approach chart, although the speed restriction isn't there, it does say 4,000 feet. And FD35 at 2,500, and that is correct. That is the intercept altitude for the path. We're probably going to go to manual speed anyway as we come in and set it ourselves. But that's all reading correctly. So our altimeters we will set when we get down there. We know it's 1005 currently. We'll set those as we descend down. So we're going to set our initial descent altitude to 2,500. We should be good to clear ourselves all the way down. Of course, 2,500 is set. Now we can do minimums. So we're doing a straight in landing. Runway 35 minimums are 760 feet, which is 502 feet above the ground. Are you popping around again, Kevin? So we're going to come down here. We'll set our minimums. We're going to use barrel because it is not a Cat 2 approach. And we will set it for 760 feet. And let's hope we're not in the clouds. So barrel was set 760 feet. So approach and missed approach. Let me bring up the chart. So here's the chart. We're going to be coming in from basically the northeast direction. We're going to come down to the Belfast VOR that we set in. We're then going to fly 184 until we're 10 miles out, make the loop around. 4,000 feet there, we'll be sending down so that when we cross D8, which is where we pick up the path, we should be down to 2,500. So it gives us about 12 miles to swing around and do that. Our speed will be down to about 180 or so as we come in this way anyway. And then it's just straight in for the landing. Upon landing, we're going to be coming up to the end of the runway, and we're going to get off here at Charlie 1. I'm going to take Charlie into the apron. And for parking, as I mentioned, I'm going to be going to parking stand 11, so we'll continue on from Charlie onto Lima. We'll then take Lima all the way down here to X-Ray, and we'll come up and we'll park here in parking spot 11. Kind of away from the rest of the terminal, and then the aircraft will be handed over to the ground guys to get it ready to go. You can see where we are right now, coming down here towards some of the outer islands, then over the Clyde, and then we head down. I'll kill the radio now. So we are almost at our top of descent. We got about 40 miles to go. And we'll remove the chart here now. We can do away with that. So the approach chart, I have Navigraph, and I have Navigraph on another screen. with all my charts, and I just use the streaming software to bring it up on and overlay it onto the sim. So it's not done, unlike the Phoenix A320, which has the EFB that you can bring the charts up. It will have it eventually. They're working on it, but at the moment it doesn't have it, so I have to do it another way. So it's just a little bit of streaming wizardry. And once again, our alternate for today's flight is Dublin, if we have to go down there. One thing I didn't talk about was the missed approach. So if I just pull that up and we read through what it says. Continuous climb to 3,000 feet, initially straight ahead to 1,300 feet, then left turn onto track 255 to 3,000 feet, turn left to VOR, and then go into a hold at the VOR or as directed by ATC. So what we do, if we do have to do a missed approach, is we will climb straight ahead and then make that left turn at 1,300 feet onto 255, and then we'll decide from there what we're going to do. If we're going to go around again, or if we're going to head down to Dublin. I'm not expecting, given the weather that we had, the forecast, I'm not expecting to have to go around. Well, saying that, the weather's just gotten a little bit worse. It's now full-on rain, and a little bit more heavier clouds moved into the area, so this could be interesting.
Grove traffic, Fleabag 1, and Tango Short, leaving flight level 390, for 2,500. Descending for VOR, approach runway 35, no, not passing overhead. Holding Mach 0.75 for this descent. Grove traffic.
Okay, I'm 0.77 right now, so should have enough space between us. So this is going to be another one of these interesting approaches. We had one at, was it Halifax? We had the weather. Can't remember. We did have a little bit of mist and stuff coming into Keflavik on Tuesday. Now 84 miles direct out from
traffic, Ryanair 4 flight level 370, that's more south.
Alright, so next beginning is descent. I'll be beginning mine in a second. We'll try to keep that speed up at 0.77 for the initial parts of the descent, Kevin. You see down here we're 8 miles from descent. Everything is set and ready to go. Our first step will be a altimeters. So, Mr. Approach, we can set the auto brake now. We're going to go auto brake 3. According to the calculation, that will give us just over 1,300 feet remaining. We'll also be using full reverse to get us slowed down. Three miles to go. So because we've set the altitude, the aircraft will start a descent on its own. Yeah, I'm not seeing you on my TCAS, but I don't know. Anyway, we're starting down. Belfast area traffic, Skyways 5556, leaving flight level 390 for the VOR DME approach, runway 35, Belfast. Yeah, I got it set for 20 miles, but I'm not showing you behind me.
And outgrowth traffic, Bluebird 19, Tango, accelerating to max 7.
We seem to have pretty decent spacing according to VATSim, so should be good. Once we get through 20,000 feet, we'll be turning off the interior light, and yeah, we're starting to cloud over. A little bit of town lights over there on the mainland, but yeah, some pretty heavy cloud out towards Ireland. Ah, there you are, Kevin. I can see you now on the TCAS. So we got good spacing there. You're 18 miles back. Speed just switched over to knots. I want some drag, so we'll put the speed brakes out. Give it a little bit of a hand. We're a little slippery today. Campbelltown below us, and there's the airport. See all the wind farms down there, the red lights, those are on top of the wind turbines. Of course, you can see the highway lights as well. Slowing down a little too much, so we'll bring... Yeah, that's why I kept the camera on the other side there. Gave a great brightness to the clouds. A little too much on the speed brakes there. Bring our range back one notch. ECM 04. Then we're going to Blacka, which is down by Strarar. Not sure if that's still Scotland or Northern England. And there's the turn. So we're through 30,000 feet. I'm going to come up and kill the overhead light. Let our eyes start getting adapted here. Everything is good. We're on our VNAV path and on course. Yeah, definitely got some buildup of clouds. I find that the landing lights on the 3.7 are not as bright as I would want them. They're fairly dim when you're on the ground. But yeah, beautiful moonlit clouds out to the right. See our fuel prediction. It is saying we should have 2.4 on arrival. We're at 3 right now, so it's a good prediction. My airline's cheap. We're probably the original ones. Sorry, Nick, can't change. I'm flying company configured airplane. So, the only thing I changed is, what did I change? Oh, I put the yoke down for when I start up the airplane. Other than that, this is exactly the way the company wants it. There's no HUD, there's no extra glare shields, screen tint things. So we have to suffer. It's 23,000 feet. Our 10,000 foot deceleration on the screen there. 2 green dots. Well, when I set up the aircraft, when I downloaded the file for it, I mean, all this stuff was preset. So I've got some older equipment in here, and I mean, we were talking when I was going through this the first time about how some of your stuff is different from mine, but this is the way the airline has it, so I'm gonna fly it this way. Here's where we're going to be turning when we get down to the point here. We'll be making almost a 90-degree right turn and heading across the channel here over to Northern Ireland. Through 20,000 feet. So I'm going to take us as we're cleared down, so I'm going to go 1005 on the barrel. There we go. Cabin is still depressurizing. Speed has eased back slightly as we get ready for the 10,000 foot limit. You can see the Irish coast over there. There's the turn. Yeah. Actually, it's pressurizing, not depressurizing. Remember when we flew into La Paz in Bolivia? That's when it was. We started our descent, and then it went back into depressurization mode, and all the alarms went off. So our gate-to-gate flight time was saying that we were going to be 2 hours, 20 minutes in the air. We're now an hour and 50, so it looks like we may be a little bit ahead of our schedule. It's always nice. Oh, beautiful moonlit waters there. Through 15,000 feet. Kevin, can you go voice when we're done this so we can work on that livery thing, or do you just want to do it on text? I know it's really late for you. I'm assuming it'll be text. Ah, lovely views. Yeah, because it depressurizes to 8,000 feet for the flight. So when you're coming down, it's got to pressurize back up to whatever the ground pressure is, right at zero. Lower in the air, a lower altitude, higher pressure. That's why when we were flying into La Paz, when the cabin was pressurized at 8,000 feet, but the airport elevation was 13,000 feet, as soon as we started our descent, it had to keep depressurizing to get up to 13,000 feet for landing so you could open the doors, and that set off all the alarms because it was like, why are we depressurizing? So the guy I talked to at the museum who flew 320s said, yeah, they don't fly anything over 7,000 feet. To do that, it's specially configured aircraft and crews. For that and performance issues and all kinds of host of other things they have to be aware of. So we might have a ship down there. Yeah, this is gorgeous. It looks really nice. Should be darker under the clouds, which would be what would normally occur. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Just about to come over the coast. That's that leads down to Belfast Harbor. So we're getting there. We're heading direct to the Belfast VOR now. Airport, of course, is just outside of the town, as you'd find in most major cities. It'll be on our left as we fly by. Alright, so there's us slowing down 10,000 feet, so the landing lights will go on, runway turnoff lights will come on. Cabin pressure is still depressurizing, and seatbelt signs, but that's fine. There is nobody else here. Alright, so let's do our approach. So engine ignition will go to continuous. Nav course and frequencies are set. Speed is within limits. Speed brake is set. Auto brake 3. Or sorry, brakes are set. I'm not going to need speed brakes again, so or air brakes. Speed brake is armed. And there's no glide slope. We will be approach mode. We'll do that a little bit later down. Thought it was me in the water. Oh, no. That was the ACA 108, floating between Canada and Greenland the other day. We're going to come back to 10 miles now. We're heading direct to the VOR, 12.1 miles out. So we're about to slip under the clouds. There's Belfast. Well, actually Belfast, I think, is over here. That's Hollywood. Belfast is over there. This is Newton Abbey. I think, if I'm reading the chart right. So speed's down to 240. Should hit 4,000 feet by the time we get to Bell. Nah, he sank when you woke him up. So procedure max is 210 knots. We can see here at Bell, 210 knots. So we should be slowing down. You can see a deceleration point 2 miles out now. There's the airport, and just passing through some rain. You can see it on the screen. There's the east-west air runway. Yeah, definitely raining. So it looks like visibility should not be an issue. There's 6,000 feet, and I can see the airport. Speed's starting to come back. Alright, we're below 250 knots. Flaps 1, speed checked. Well, it wasn't for me. I don't know. You bumped into that weird fog that rolled in for you. Flaps 2 and flaps 5. Speeds down below V10. We're heading down to 160. 200 knots. Flaps 10. And I'm going to go speed intervention, and we're going to set 180 knots. I don't want to get too slow. We got 10 miles to go on the outbound leg. And we're into the clouds. Tracking down to 2,500 feet. When we get down here to the turn point, we will arm for the landing. So the engine 1 and 2 start modes are continuous, which is good since we're in the rain. And 180 knots, flaps 15. Yeah, no, you want the gear. They're gonna go back to flaps 15. Oh, it looks like I overshot. I wonder if that's what set it off. No. Go back to flaps 10. Will it turn it off? No. Yeah, it did. Okay. So any more than flap 10, that's gonna want the gear. That's fine. 180 knots. 3 miles out to the turn point. Coming up on 4,000 feet. I'm going to do a little bit of a intervention here. Go vertical speed. Get that speed down. Or get the altitude down. I don't know why I'm hanging out that high.
Logical classic 2 bird 1 on your single is going to 170 knots after separation.
Speed down to 170. 1,000 to go. We're in the turn. Approach mode armed. Altitude acquiring.
2,500.
Glide path is armed. FAC is armed. Speed's coming back. Through 180. Flaps 15, gear down. We'll get her configured sort of early. Some terrain ahead of us. That's the high ground. It's all good. Glide path is indicating.
I'll go traffic, bird 1, go ahead, turning right, turning left, heading 180.
We are set, coming around for the intercept. FAC is still armed, not indicating yet. Speed to 165. And where's my forgot where do we select approach the flap menu FMC reference. It's going to be a flaps, was it 30? Yeah, flaps 30. Alright, so that in. So our landing speed is going to be 121 plus 5, so 126. There we go, speed 126, and flaps 30. Alright, FAC armed, glide path armed. Belfast area traffic, Skyways 5556 established on the VOR DME approach, 5 miles, Belfast. Runway 35, I mentioned that. So, lights are on, cabin is notified, flaps are set, speed brake is armed, landing gear 3 green. Now we're looking for the runway. Wind's a little bit of a strong out of the right. We're on a little bit of a crab. We have the runway in sight. .1200 feet. ATL coming up, and yeah, visibility is not an issue. Of course, Kevin's going to be doing the approach, and he's not going to see a thing. And then Nick will come in, and it'll be nice and clear for him. A bit of a crab here with that wind. 16 knots, pretty strong. It did say it was, what was it, 8 knots? 8 knots at 340, so it's just going to come around and die off as we get a little bit closer to the ground. Three miles out, everything is good. Got some rain. There's Nick passing in front of us. Kevin's done the loop the opposite direction, and he's now behind us. And oh, it looks like Nick went into the clouds. So 1,000 to go. Alright, I'll try to match throttles to where they actually are working.
Approaching minimums. Minimums.
Landing. Wind's now straight on, so we want to try to get ourselves lined up. A little low. There we go, looking good.
200.
Throttles are mine.
100. 40. 30. 20. 10.
A little bit of wheel squeak there. Auto brake is on, reversers are on. .60 knots, reversers off. Auto brake stitching engaged. We're going to come up to the end here. And we'll taxi off. That wasn't too bad.
Altigo traffic, Bluebird 1, synchro established, VOR 35, 5.8 miles out.
Belfast area traffic, Skyways 5556, clear, runway 35 at Charlie 1. Alright, so we are clear. Let's get the brakes on. Somewhere down here. There it is. Alright, so flaps are coming up. Speed brake is disarmed. Transponder is off. Position lights will go to steady. Landing lights are off. Turn off lights are off. Taxi light is on. APU is starting. Anti-ice not required. It was never on. Probes are now off. Engine start switches can go back to off. And auto brakes are off. Taxi over to 11 now. There's Kevin coming in. And Nick is off that way in the clouds somewhere, making his base leg right now. So this is the freeware Belfast from FlightSim.to. Get a look at it. Looks nice. Some aircraft kicking around, adding a little bit of life to the airfield. Okay, Danny, well, thanks for dropping by. Hope you enjoyed. And yeah, we're around. If you need help with anything, we're on the Discord. You can give us a shout over there. Thanks for stopping by. Get some hesitations here. I wonder if it's the scenery here. It's pretty detailed. I think next week I definitely got to get over to the computer store and see if they got any of those 380s. Couple easy jets here. Oh, looks like they got airplanes parked over where I want to go. Well, we'll see if there's one free. Yeah, we'll go into swing around over here. We'll go up to this one up here, which will be stand 12. Looks like there's a EasyJet, and then on the other side it's a TUI, and that yeah, Jet 2 Holidays. Alright, back inside. It's a shame those aircraft are there because, yeah, they get in the way, but then I like them being there because it adds life to the airport. Alright, let's kill the taxi light. There's 12. Looks like it's going to be serviced by EasyJet. Yeah, I think when we looked more at the terminal, I got a bit of a definitely a bit of a lag spike there. Looks nice though. There we are. Get the parking brake on. Get the lights on. All right. Let's go overhead. We'll get the APU generators up and running. Parking brake is set. So come down here, engines off. Anti-collision light can come off. Let's get Roger to, we can get the ground equipment here. We'll get the chocks in, we'll get the ground. And we're waiting for the engines to finish spooling down. We can get the stairs over. There we go. Go back up top now. Fuel pumps will all come off. Ground power is available. kill all the generators. Leads will go off. Packs, recirc fans are off. Isolation valve. I'll leave it open. And the flight directors are off. Well, that's going to do it today, folks. We are here in Belfast. We made it in. And everything is good. So in the next week or so, we should see them start to use the aircraft on the routes. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you on the next flight tomorrow night. 1930 Zulu. We're back in the Airbus, flying off to. Actually, we're coming back over here from Brussels. We'll see you then. Bye for now.